Welcome to Spiritual Resources with Mary Evelyn Tucker and John Grimm. I'll let them explain to you a little bit about what they're doing. I think you'll have an exciting time listening to what they are up to.
We began a project at Harvard University Center for the Study of World Religions in the mid-90s to examine the resources of the world's religions for a spiritual ethics and environmental understanding of the response of religions to our great environmental crises.
Environmental ethics.
Yes, exactly. Yes. From a plural point of view, not only from the Western religions or Western philosophy, but saying in India this is going to look very different than in China or South America and so on. And so we wanted to bring forward the wisdom of these great traditions.
Spiritual resources, as it were.
Exactly. No, very much so. I think that this sense of the well springs of these traditions is what we had in mind, and that tradition and modernity are in creative tension and conflict, but they need to we're speaking about them as re-examining the traditions, re-evaluating, and reconstructing them in response to these very pressing issues of our time.
You obviously, this makes a presumption that you think there are spiritual resources that can apply to this time. How do you react to that idea?
Very much so. In fact, that was one of the questions we asked ourselves. As historians of religion, we saw environmental problems erupting, especially in the late 70s, 80s, in the Asian cities. And so we asked ourselves, what resources do we have to bring to this question of environmental concern? And the thought that came to us was these traditions that we've studied. My own field is the study of indigenous traditions, especially Native North American, and Mary Evelyn is a scholar of Confucianism in East Asia. So we began to ask, is it possible the religions can bring resources to these questions that haven't been fully explored?
Let's zero this down to the individual, whoever is out there watching us talk. Can you name something that they can do, some action that they can take that gives them a sense they are helping? And we presume a motive of ethical concern at least. Have you some comment?
Well, I think there's an awful lot of things now which are saying what people can do, drive less, fly less, and all of this kind of thing, use less energy. And for the U.S., this is hugely important. With 4% of the world's population using 25% of the world's resources and creating 25% of the world's gas emissions is really, really problematic. So there's many ways in which we can all change our lifestyles. And that, I think, it's not going to be easy, but I think the religions can contribute to this. But it's our view, as I think John was saying, that especially in America, we think action is going to solve everything, or we're going to feel good if we change our life goals. But my question is, what's next, and what's the
perhaps change our mental light bulb?
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really, as I think your program is bringing out, it's a change of the human heart, isn't it? And in the tradition that I love, Confucianism, they will speak, I've been thinking about this, that the heart and mind is one. And that what we're trying to do is bring forward these huge resources of the tradition, but in a very powerful way, not just that we tolerate one another, or we love one another and so on, but Confucianism suggests, and this is where Thomas Berry was deeply influenced by Confucianism, that heaven, earth, and human is a trinity, is a triad. There's not a radical transcendence in this, but heaven is a knowing presence, a sensibility, a guiding force, a Tao, if you will. The earth is a vibrant, changing fecundity of life, that the human is placed within that. And so it's an anthropocosmic system. And that's, you see, I think as we begin to imagine ourselves as completing this process, our actions will take on even greater significance. That's the point of this perspective.